Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only show where you'll get the news that EC3 is no longer NWA champion. Yep, that's a true fact. I'm your host, Ryan Knightsey, and with me, as always, is Mr. Labor Day Weekend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how you doing today?
Doing great. I'm amped up, ready to get back into the swing of things. Little Ring Post Radio nights. He played the wrong song again, folks.
I did play the wrong song again. My apologies.
He doesn't like to set the tone for the rest of the show. It's fine. I'm all amped up like it's a morning, so it's okay. Lots to talk about.
Famously amped in the morning, Scotty Edwards.
Yeah, famously. I watched a lot of wrestling today to catch up. Did not catch up on everything because I still had a lot to do post yesterday, but it's okay. I will be able to provide thoughts. I'll be able to provide laughs because some wrestling companies provided me laughs. Shout out to them. And I'm ready for a hell of a show.
Yeah, it's a big time show. We got a lot of stuff to discuss. Got finals of tournaments to discuss. We got WWE pay-per-views. We got a lot of we got another AEW pay-per-view happening this weekend, this Saturday. That we will.
Oh, we do, don't we?
Yes, we do. Not a lot of matches. I think we have 5 so far, but we'll discuss that when that comes up. But of course, it was Labor Day weekend, so yeah, we are a little bit
6
later.
Actually.
Oh, my apologies. 6 matches. Yeah, it was Labor Day weekend, so it was a busy time for wrestling, a busy time specifically for Scotty. If I recall, Labor Day weekend's a big holiday for your family. How was your Labor Day weekend?
It was great. I'm exhausted. Thank God there's a Monday that I have off. Well, I don't have a job, so I'm always off. However,
same brother, same.
I think there is like a tune to like it being a holiday Monday. It still feel like I could do nothing and not feel bad about myself, so that's nice. But yeah, it was a great day. Very busy from like probably Friday at I want to say 3 p.m. until pretty much this morning at 11 p.m. and or 11 a.m. Sorry, and that's when I kind of was able to start doing other things now, kind of getting ready for this show. Some people have already seen some of my thoughts on certain things. So some things I didn't have to give an opinion. All I said was the word pop, and people they just knew how I felt about it. But I'm very excited to be back in the swing of things. Like I said, be doing this show. Like you said, we have a big weekend next weekend with All Out coming right around. So wrestling never stops, and that's why I never stop, except when I'm tired. Which doesn't happen a lot, but actually,
well, hold on.
Backtrack. I'm always tired, except when I sleep, I should say, which doesn't happen a lot. But
yeah, you're the opposite. You're famously the opposite of Hiroshi Tanahashi. Yeah, where he's never tired.
He's never tired. I'm always tired. But I bet he sleeps pretty well. You know, like I don't think I don't. Though I understand being sore, like his knees probably are. So you know, that's part of the shtick today. I was like, man, I'm old. Can't do things like I want to. I ate it trying to catch a football yesterday. I have felt that all day.
Your body's starting to break down.
Through a football probably over 100 times. My arm should be in a sling right now.
Yeah,
it hurts so much.
I did about, I think, 8 minutes of like a boxing exercise at my house. We have a bag and everything. My shoulder was down for the rest of the day.
See, this episode's actually about being old.
Yeah, that's what this is. And I know that's what people came here to listen to. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, so I think let's get to the wrestling. I guess we'll just start off with WWE's Bash in Berlin pay-per-view. We are going head-to-head currently with NXT No Mercy. So I think
we'll start at 7?
I think it technically started at 7, yeah.
That's tough. That's tough. Counter programming against us.
But it's fine. If there's anyone I'd rather counter program against, it's NXT.
I'd argue. Hear me out. We're more entertaining.
I agree. I certainly agree. But yeah, so there is some rumors about matches or people that may show up at NXT No Mercy. So if that happens, we will certainly discuss it. But otherwise, right now we're going to discuss Bash in Berlin, which is the WWE PLE that took place yesterday on Saturday, August 31st in Berlin, Germany. And I think it was a pretty solid show for the most part. I don't think anything stood out as great and memorable, but I don't think there was anything atrociously bad on this card. There are certainly things that could have gone poorly or could have gone very story distracting worthy, if that makes sense. But I think overall, for this classic 5-match pay-per-view in Berlin, it went pretty well. And I think obviously the crowd helped elevate it, like all of these first-time international shows in WWE's oeuvre lately. Scotty, what do you think of this show?
I love the main event. I love Gunther and Randy. I was a little higher the first time around. This time, I just thought they played up to the epic main event, to the crowd especially. I think that just all worked very well together. Not gonna lie to you, barely remember the rest of the show, and I watched it a few hours ago, which says a lot. I think it's funny. My favorite 2 matches might be the mixed tag and the main event.
I don't think you're out of the order there. I think
okay.
I think you're not out of the order for that sort of thing.
I feel like the mixed tag's a crazy take, but
the
I thought it
mixed
was
tag
most
was hot.
fun.
The mixed look, I can't deny how hot the crowd was for the mixed tag of Rhea Ripley and the Terror Twins versus
the Terror Twins.
It is undeniable how hot the crowd was for that. Whether or not these matches are great is one thing, but I think it's very much that these matches are all hot with this German crowd.
Yeah, for sure. I think like for me, with that tag, it was very like basic playing to the crowd, and that's what elevated that match. I know we'll review the whole show, so I don't want to like go out of order here, but yeah, those are my quick thoughts about it. It's like the last 2 matches really stuck with me. Everything else was either fine or touching corners. So,
well, let's get to it. So the first match on the show, of course, but I saw someone tweet out, Roman Reigns never opened up a pay-per-view. And I was like, I mean, that's fair, but context, come on. Gunther is in the main event. So it was opening up the WWE Universal title match. Cody Rhodes defeating Kevin Owens, 26 minutes and 10 seconds. This match basically built around this idea that Cody Rhodes wanted Kevin Owens to challenge for his title. Kevin was like, brother, I got a losing streak. I shouldn't do this. And they're like, no, I think you should. Or no, he actually says, fine, if you don't want to do it, I'll have Roman do it. And Kevin says, nah, screw that guy. Put me in the spot. So then they have that. There's this sort of leg injury. They sort of tap into this idea that does Kevin have the, what's the phrase they keep using? Killer instinct anymore. And so that was the story of the match going into it. And that was pretty much the story of the match coming out of it. I thought it was, solid wrestling in front of this crowd. They did 2 different spots where Kevin refuses to go after Cody's knee injury, which apparently Cody previously said he was fine and didn't have one. I don't know what part of the story is there, but the idea is Kevin, he's faking an injury, or he's given an opportunity for Kevin to go after him or something to prove that he still has a killer instinct. Kevin denies it, much a la a Tiger Driver. He denies going for it. He denies going for the power bomb on the apron, a la the Tiger Driver. And he ends up losing to Cody Rhodes with, kind of a slightly flat finish, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like the finish, because like they were good to it. I think it was like a Kevin Owens did a swanton off the top rope, double knees. Cody, gets hit, hits counters with. You thought there would be more selling, especially with the leg injury. Am I still here? Am I cutting out a little bit?
You're good.
Okay, good. I thought there would be some more something with the knee injury, with the counter. And then we just get straight into another crossroads, and that was the finish.
Yeah.
And the crowd was sort of like, oh, all right. So that was the match. What did you think of it?
Found the first half to be really good, really exciting, really engaging. It was the second half where I started to get thrown off. The knee part of it was like this added context, which I knew about, but I just didn't like the way it played out. in the match. I think it was I think it kind of ruined it in some ways. And when I say that, I mean, like, I think Kevin, like, doing the little drama bit of, I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. Like, I didn't really feel that, because ultimately, like, Kevin Owens should have just done it. And I think if had he just hit him then after the first knee cell, I think the match would have really could have made it to a different level, because then the match would have just escalated in excitement and drama. And like you said, I think the finish of the match was flat as well. Because he uses his knees to stop the swanton and then just hit the crossroads and it's over. Like, for me, that was kind of a miss on.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like him selling the leg, going over, like, fine, hit the crossroads, but then sell that leg because you just used it to stop him. Get a kick out on a crossroads, work a little bit longer. I think that's what hurt the match. It was a fine, good to good match. Good opener because the crowd was hot, but yeah, the flat finish took me out of it, even though I think the work obviously was good. Like, the work was always going to be good, but unlike the main event, I feel like you didn't have the proper build to the ultimate finish.
Yeah.
While the main event, I feel like, was working towards that the entire time. They just kind of threw the knee injury in there at one point, and it's like, oh, okay, sure, whatever you want. But yeah, that's kind of how I felt about the match. Definitely, I think it under delivered on my expectations for these two, because I was kind of thinking this could hit like the Cody AJ spot with the crowd and how good these two wrestlers are. Because, like I said, the work was good, but the added knee story just took me out of it by the end.
Yeah, it gets the rare Ryan Knightsy. I could have used 1 or 2 more minutes here. I'm asking for an extension on the match.
Exactly. Like, it could have just used like the extra drama, a few minutes. Instead, it didn't get there, but it's fine.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Like, I think what it is ultimately like the WWE house style of just like we're telling stories, right?
Yeah.
So like the AJ one, the story of that match is that like AJ is seen as this like kind of like older veteran that like, does he still have it anymore? And then when he goes up to Backlash France, it's like, oh yeah, brother, I still have it. And then he goes over to Noah, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
I don't think that was his fault.
Yeah. But
I think he was good in that match. Marufuji doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, which is fair. I mean, the guy is also old and also has been wrestling in a high octane style. But yeah, no, I think it's just like this, so that's the story of the AJ Styles thing here. And then going to Kevin, the story is like the story is basically like not giving you what you want, not refusing to give you the Kevin Owens thing. Cody refusing kind of to do a knee sell, he is selling the knee, but the whole idea is that he has a knee injury, but he doesn't want Kevin to know it or doesn't want anyone else to know that he has one. Right. He's kind of like not feigning, lying about having a knee injury. So like the story of the match is like, we're not going to give you what you want. So it leaves you wanting more, which I guess is good because it nails that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It nails the idea of leaving you wanting more, because I think that's the design of the story. So then it comes down to, I mean, does this continue? I don't know. The only way this continues is Kevin having the killer instinct again and turning heel, which I don't necessarily see coming down the pike right now. I mean, maybe he definitely needs something, but I don't know.
I mean, Kevin Owens as a heel is much better than Kevin Owens as a face. So
we can both agree there.
If that's what they want to do, I'm not against it, but at the same time, there's no reason to think this should continue unless he does turn heel. So
I agree. Next up was the WWE Women's Tag Team title match. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill win the titles back from the Unholy Union. Can I give you I talked a lot to begin with, so let me hear your first thoughts on this Women's Tag Team match. Best match on this card? All right, buddy.
It was there.
Yeah.
It's about my take about that completely. I don't think anything amazed. Bianca Belair is pretty good.
Can I actually give a hot take there?
But I didn't think she did much in this match. So, like, overall, like, it was, I did not walk away from this feeling great.
I'm gonna give a hot take about this match, about Bianca Belair.
Okay.
I think she's a bad tag team wrestler.
That's fair.
Or she's
I don't think she's a tag team wrestler.
She's at least really bad in the tag team babyface and peril.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think
she's hard to be believable in that.
It's exactly
against these two,
exactly.
You know,
yeah. To be fair, she is against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. These aren't next level female wrestlers out there. But like, I don't think Bianca Belair really, and she has to be in that spot because she's compared to Jade, who obviously is bigger and taller than her. So she has to be sort of the underdog, I guess, of the the team. But I think she's like works so dominantly and that she's working this new thing that I don't think she's good at. And I think it's, we can discuss the issues of Jade Cargill. We can say that Isla Dawn and Alba Fire aren't really that good right now, or that much ever. But I think, Bianca Belair's in there as well. And I don't think she's necessarily changing the world either as a tag team wrestler.
No, I think she's being wasted, honestly. I just don't think like this is the purpose for her, but she's not featured in one of the top title feud stories moving forward. So that's why she's here stuck doing this. The sooner she gets away from tag team, the better, because obviously Bianca Belair is great. We've seen her be great many, many, many times. But yeah, I mean, this is how I always felt about the tag belt. It's like they just throw the most popular person in that's doing nothing with someone, and that's what they do. Like, so I don't think it's really that hard of a take to say like this is not her thing. She has always succeeded in singles. But they're trying to keep her busy, trying to keep her involved, which I get. I understand that. But I was watching this, I was like, the sooner Bianca gets back to being in the world title picture, the better, because like this doesn't do anything for me.
I also feel like the world title picture needs her. You know what I mean? Like,
I just remembered last night because I saw not last night because I didn't see anything. 2 nights ago when I saw the SmackDown spoilers that Nia Jax was SmackDown champion. So that was like, oh, interesting.
Like, they're not pulling the trigger on Tiffy anytime soon.
Right.
Bailey is obviously slowed down significantly.
Yeah, Bailey can work with the right people. Like, I like the EO match a lot, obviously, but
again, EO versus Viper, you know what I mean? Like, obviously,
right, sure.
Wrestler than Viper, no offense.
Bailey, I'll give this to Bailey. She put in a shift against Nia Jax.
Yeah. And then Nia Jax, someone who I think has gotten certainly better on her return, but again, she's not the greatest wrestler.
She's not good.
So it's like, and
I agree.
And then you go,
Bianca feels like the perfect person for Tiffany to cash in on.
Agreed.
Now, has Bianca been cashed in on multiple times in the past? Yes. Correct. However, it works.
And then you look over on the Raw side. Who do you got? You got Io Sky, obviously great, but not in the title picture. Kind of.
I would put.
Who's
feeling?
Hold on. Who is it? Liv Morgan? Oh, it's Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, which is great.
Rhea's going to be champion.
Yeah, it's Rhea and Liv Morgan right now, which is great. Obviously, when it comes to the mixed tag,
I will give a take. I'm going to give a take. I was going to save this for later. Rhea Ripley's a great babyface.
Yeah.
Like, watching that match and enjoying it as much as I did, I was like, they took a long time to get to this point. And it kind of was like, they always knew because she's kind of been babyface. But I was like, I don't know how Rhea versus Bianca works right now, but I'm making that the WrestleMania match next year. I'll make Bianca heel. I think Bianca heel works because she hasn't done it for a long time. And I'm just doing that match. Like, that's the biggest women's match they have, and they've pushed it off. Get Rhea the title back. Have Bianca win the Rumble. Who gives a shit, right? It's like she can win the Rumble, and make that match happen. That was my take.
I think this is all a fair take, and especially like what I was going to say, and I've been banging this drum for the past several months.
If they want to run with Tiffany on the other side.
Correct. if you want to run with Tiffany on the other side, and like I've been banging the drum for the past couple months, you big massive star loss in Becky Lynch, and you have Bianca Belair sitting on the shelf practically, collecting dust of Jade. I think it's just the sort of thing. And on top of that, you have to, it's WWE. This feels like we're heading towards a singles match between Jade and Bianca Belair at some point where they split up and fight each other. And the question is that happening at Mania? Is that happening? When is that happening? Because that has to happen, I think, first before either of them can kind of go into the, women's title picture.
No, you're absolutely right. I think, again, best case scenario for me is you just run Rhea and Bianca in Vegas. But we'll see because, they can push it. They'll probably push Jade and Bianca off as far as they can, and that'll probably be Mania. So, again, we'll see when we get there. We've already talked about this idea of this match for too long. I know we haven't really talked about the match itself, but the match. Here's what I'll say about the match. The match wasn't like actively bad.
I didn't see Jade flub once.
Yeah, Jade hit all her spots.
Yeah,
so it just hard to care, unfortunately. It was like the opposite of the mixed tag, like in every way, shape, or form. Like the mixed tag, I feel like went to the highest of highs, and this just did the minimum.
Agreed. Completely agree. Well, speaking of highest of highs, I guess, I don't know. Strap match, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. When I saw that this was going to be a 4 corners strap match sort of situation where you have to touch all 4 corners, I let out the biggest groan that my wife came over and was like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "It's 4 corners."
It's 4 corners. My day is ruined.
Yeah. And then I see like the dumb lights overhead, and I was like, "Why are there 2? That doesn't make any sense. You just gotta hit 1." I was like, "Oh, I guess for the one spot where one person's carrying the other person, they're hitting the turnbuckles at the same time." Who cares? Like but that's all subtlety hammer, WWE overproduction of, people want to understand seeing someone do something 4 times in a row, they'll lose track. We need lights to turn on.
You want to know my take on this match?
Go for it.
Could have been great without the 4 corners.
Oh yeah. I thought the match itself way better than the SummerSlam match because it wasn't complete. The story of the match and the
bracelet was hiding until the end.
Correct. The action of the match, even specifically, was never distracted by the bracelet, which was my biggest gripe. That the action was distracted. Here, the action never stopped. Even when the bracelet came out, it became a thing where Punk didn't really acknowledge it too much. He kind of maybe looked at it, but then immediately picked up Drew McIntyre, hit him with a GTS, and then kept going. So like I thought that was a major improvement. I thought that the only thing that was really hurting this match was the strap match, the 4 corners of it all.
Yes.
And other than that, the violence was there. Accidental blood was great there. I thought it was interesting that a bad read potentially where CM Punk pulls out the table and Drew McIntyre puts it away. It felt like he thought there would be a "we want tables" chant, and he was satisfying that, even though it never happened. Yada, yada, yada. Who cares? We got to it later and it worked.
Nasty spot.
Yeah, and that nasty spot for the table bump. But yeah, it's the 4 corners of it all that just kind of took it out.
Yeah, like I said, this could have been a great match if it was just a strap match without the 4 corners. But every time you had to do the 4 corner thing, it's like, oh my God, who cares? Like, my problem with grudge matches in WWE when it has a step like this is that the point is to beat the piss out of your opponent. Like that, you hate each other. Yeah. And I think it got back to that by the end when Punk just continuously hit McIntyre would go to sleep. Like I think that got the point across. But every other time they went to touch the 4 corners before that, it was like you're just trying to win the match. Right? Like that's all you're trying to do. So I think like that was my main problem. Because otherwise action was good. The wrestling was good. The violence was good. Got a little bit of color even. And I walked away saying, if they just have a normal match where the bracelet goes home and it's violent, we'll be fine. So we have to assume the next one, which is rumored to be Hell in a Cell of Bad Blood, is the one.
But I also I think that match will be great. and the elevation, the story will be out of the way,
Yeah.
But I also don't know how this feud continues.
Well, they're 1-1.
I guess that's the only thing. I guess you're right.
Yeah.
They're 1-1.
And McIntyre, now that he lost, he's not going to let it go.
He doesn't have the bracelet anymore.
Yeah, if the bracelet was just left at home, that would be really cool. I think that'd be a really, really cool idea. Because I do think like I think they can deliver in a Hell in a Cell. Because here, step one, it's not a last man standing or a I quit match. So instantly better, right? Just being in the cell. And two, we'll see how they get there, but I think like the feud makes sense in terms of they want to kill each other at all times. But ultimately with this match, the main takeaway is what hurt it was the four corners. And we knew that going in. We said it last week. If this four corners, this match is not going to be as good as it could be.
Yeah, and it's because it's the WWE. What it is, is I don't want the action to halt because of the stipulation.
Yeah, it's why I hate the
last man standings, the four corners. The big issue, obviously, with the bracelet last time at SummerSlam. It's anytime when there's a match stipulation where the match just has to kind of halt because we're doing the gimmick. We're doing this sort of thing, and until we do the gimmick of the match, we can't continue with the match, which is frustrating. Yeah. So yeah, let's move on. Oh, I did want to bring this up because I have made a note of this here on my notes. These bugs that are coming up on the screen during these matches. I have NXT No Mercy in the background just in case any sort of pop-ups happen, and you can probably see the flashes on my screen and whatnot. They're doing them on NXT as well. The bugs of catching you up on results that have happened previously, and matches still to come. I saw a bug during this match where it's like still to come, Gunther versus Randy Orton, right? Yeah. And then a match result of Cody versus Kevin Owens. Mm-hmm. Cody defeats Kevin Owens, retains the title, right? And I sat there thinking, why are they doing bugs like this? Other than maybe a sports presentation idea.
That's why.
But I get that in terms of like but it's also this. But why do like bugs of like that? Why are we hyping people up to continue? I think there's a sports presentation style, but why? What is the need to necessitate the bugs in the first place? My first thought was, do viewers only watch one match and then not the rest, and they need to keep viewers to maintain the rest of the pay-per-views? Are people not interested in watching? The whole idea of these minutes watched for all these pay-per-views and whatnot, and it brings you up like, oh yeah, 50, 100 trillion people watched our pay-per-view this Saturday. We have this many minutes watched. And it's like, yeah, but how many of those people watched the whole thing? And seeing these bugs makes me think, is not everyone watching this whole thing? Like us weird, freaks over here watching the whole thing. That just kind of like confused me. And I was like, maybe this is a play that like, yeah, not many people are actually consistently sitting down and watching the entire thing in one straight shot.
My feeling about it is that when they do it on TV, it works. Like they do it on TV too.
Completely makes sense for me to do it on TV.
And I think they've just thought we have to do it on both shows. I wouldn't do it on pay-per-views just because some people might want to go back and watch a show on spoiler free. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Like it's a nice feature. I do think it's a smart thing, especially for TV, but you're going to spoil people if they're just tuning in live.
Mm-hmm. If
people say it's fine.
If I tune in live to watch a strap match, I just got the spoiler for the first match and I missed it.
Exactly. Which, again, like if Michael Cole says it, fine, they do that. But like, I don't know, reading it to me and it's being featured on the screen, it's like, okay, well,
yeah,
got it, cool. I can miss Michael Cole saying something. I tune him out all the time. As I've said on the show, I barely listen to commentary half the time.
Mm-hmm.
But when you read it, it's like you can't miss the little bug in the corner.
Next up is the mixed tag team match. We kind of talked about a little bit already. The Terror Twins of Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley defeat Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan of the Judgment Day. Like I said, the crowd was super hot. enhanced the match a lot. I thought it was better. The action here was better than SummerSlam. And of course, we got a little bit of House of Torture action in this match as well, with all the run-ins.
A lot of House of Torture action this weekend, folks. But this was really entertaining because in the end, when the babyface wins in the way they did, it's fine. You know, it works. And Liv and Dom just played dummy. And when I say play dummy, I mean they just got thrown around. They got beat up, right? Their offense was very limited, but it was enough to make you believe they might steal the win at times.
Yep.
And like I said, I didn't think Damian Priest.
Yeah, brothers of Adam.
Yeah. Like I think Damian Priest, I didn't expect him to be this good as a babyface, but the crowds love him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it just brings up his overall work. And like I said earlier, Rhea's fantastic at her role. I think she's killing it. Liv Morgan bumps like crazy. Like Liv Morgan may not be the best wrestler, but she bumps very well. And she almost killed herself on a suicide dive. But other than that,
yeah,
like that camera shot was crazy. I was like, oh, she almost just completely went over her, which was wild. But it worked. Like that was my takeaway from I was like, this worked, unlike the title match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, the babyface turn of Rhea Ripley, I think, is extremely successful. Like, I don't think it's the heights of it, because I don't think the company is obviously at the same heights of when it happened, but I think it's on similar levels of like The Rock's turn, going from heel to face. Like the crowd wanted it so bad that as soon as they get it, they're ecstatic. The question immediately there is, can it extend? As far as it can. I think my thing watching this match was that it was really good. Where do we go for here? Like, obviously Rhea and Liv.
For Liv, we know, but
yeah,
I think you're right for the overall story. I'm guessing Finn and Damian.
Yeah, Finn and Damian feels like a next step too, but then it's like, do we just do this match again with Finn and Liv?
Right.
It also feels like that should have been the match, not like Dominic is not really the person that Damian gets.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like part of it is Dominic, but really his beef should be with Finn Balor. It's this whole thing of like, maybe just going to redo that match on a pay-per-view next time. I wouldn't be shocked. So I guess we'll see what happens. But I think I don't know. With Rhea Ripley, it's very obvious. I think as a face, it's just gonna be winning the title back at some point. I don't really know where we go with Damian, and I think that's my big thing coming out of this match is like, I don't know where we're going with this guy for like 6 months, like even just 6 months down the road.
Yeah, not to be that guy. Hear me out though. I don't care. Like I'm watching this match. I was watching this match for Rhea and what she does. And I was like, Damian's a nice, like, I'll help be like, he's in a way, he's just a really good enforcer.
Yes.
Right, for Rhea. And I think that works. But yeah, no, you're right. I just like, I nothing about Damian versus Finn Balor does anything for me. So it's like, I don't care, You can do that on Raw, so I don't have to watch it. Type.
I tend to agree. Main event here, WWE World Heavyweight Title match. Obviously, Gunther defeats Randy Orton by referee's decision because my brother doesn't get pinned, doesn't get tapped out.
That's real wrestling. That's real wrestling right there.
Obviously, Gunther over like hell. Being his
what a star.
Yeah, big star here. I love Michael Cole, one of my favorites in the match, selling the idea that Randy Orton is this some sort of best psychological mind in the business when Randy Orton's just mucking around doing the wave. I was like, he's getting inside his head. I was like, what are you talking about? He's just doing the wave.
He's just vibing, bro.
He's vibing.
This is my favorite Randy Orton ever because he's just vibing, by the way. Like this is a guy that's like, yep, 290 now. I'm a dad. My back hurts, but I'm here.
44 years old.
44 years old. Still look like $1 million, but I'm in pain, and I got kids, and I got a wife. But I'll be champion again, I guess.
I will say the vibes of Randy Orton are still there, But if we can just pick up the pace on these vibes or something,
See, it doesn't bother me as much.
No, it was fine, but the sequence of moving the steps and then doing that table spot was so incredibly slow. Like that felt like a century was going by during that entire sequence. And I was just like, come on, Randy, pick up like the referee Charles Robinson's trying out there to be like, guys, you gotta give me something. I'm about to count you out if you don't hurry your asses up. I just thought like Randy was extremely slow in that spot, and just I think to me personally killed the momentum of the match a little bit. Like I think it was just way too slow. Legitimately, the match was good otherwise. Again, I thought it was a really good match, but that spot just like killed the momentum because it's like, come on, man, pick up the pace just a little bit because I'm losing attention. I'm losing going 34 minutes is kind of crazy. It really doesn't have to be that long.
It didn't bother me at all, but that's because I'm not a time fiend like Ryan Knightsey. Also, I have the benefit of the doubt. I watched this late. I did not have to watch through any Peacock commercials, any entrances. I just watched the action, folks. So I was like locked in. This is probably the most I've enjoyed a WWE pay-per-view all year, strictly because of that. I feel like I wasted an hour and a half of my life, not 3 hours. Do you know how much you know how great that feeling is? It's amazing.
It's a
really good feeling. I loved the work in this match. I think they're very old school with the way they work, and it's why I think I enjoy this so much. This felt like what I wanted from the King of the Ring final in completion, going along with the crowd itself being incredible. The selling of Gunther's arm was fantastic. Like, my God, I watched this guy and I'm like, he is like, it's unreal that he's in WWE. Like, because he just wrestled his match.
Yeah,
he got Randy Orton to wrestle his match.
Randy Orton,
and that's not a shot at Randy, but like, Randy's worked his match for 25 years, right? Randy doesn't change up. So like that not 25, but 20 years. That tells you how much like Randy appreciates the work that this guy does, right? Sure. And like one of the things I love about this Randy is talking about the back. Like he sells the back, every little thing he does, right? He's always in pain. He's always visibly in pain. So like if you can take the long Randy Orton match, you'll enjoy this probably to the lengths I did. Like if I was to look at my WWE ratings this year, I'm not gonna right now, probably like my second favorite from the company this year, which again, it's not a lot of competition to be fair. It's like Roman and Cody. I couldn't tell you what the second match would be otherwise. So that's why like I'm pretty confident here in saying this, because even like the NXT matches that people raved about a few times, like I don't think those ever hit the highs that I thought they did or whatever. Like this was just very old school and in many ways against like current WWE, which, you know, the WWE main event now is they try to work in the work ratey part while also having the WWE isms, and that was not this. And I think that's probably why I enjoyed it. And again, can't stress this enough, I saved a lot of time watching this show. Again, had I watched this after 3 hours, I would have been like, just end the freaking, you know, like I know that's exactly what happened for me. So I get it, but really good work. Gunther looks strong in the win. I think that's maybe the most important part. Like, yes, I understand Randy doesn't like to get pinned or whatever, but he choked out Randy Orton. To me, that's a good finish. And I like like I said, the selling of the arm was masterclass from Mr. Gunther himself. So really great match. Show was easily watchable, I think. Even if I had watched it for the 3 hours, it didn't drag wrestling wise as much as other shows for them do. Like I think the other shows for them, you're just like, please end. Like, please end. I don't want to watch this anymore.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way really until the stairs. in this main event. Like you can maybe feel that a little bit in the women's tag team match, but
right
the fact
before
that it was
3 hours
second,
essentially. So
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
oh,
The
like,
fact that the women's tag was second on the card, it was like, no, I'm not expecting, a 5-star match here in this spot.
right.
So the expectations were different. But yeah, that arm selling from Gunther was fantastic. But yeah, I agree.
He's good.
Gunther, really good.
Yeah.
Really great. I think he's on his way to be a Hall of Fame wrestler right now.
Yeah, he's doing exactly what I hoped he would do.
Mm-hmm.
As world champion, is have great matches. That's all I wanted. This is his first defense, right? And he did it for me. And now next guy, whoever he faces, like, give me the Sheamus rematch eventually. Not yet. We're still too close to the last time they faced. But eventually down the line at like some B pay-per-view, that'll be really cool. It's funny. I look at like Raw. Obviously, Randy's not on Raw. I was like, who do I want to see Gunther against? And I was like, I don't even know who's on that show.
Can I tell you? Can I tell you who is on that show? Who in a backstage promo said that they want to go after the title?
Who?
CM Punk.
Not gonna lie, that would be great.
What I like about that is it opens the door to Gunther versus Drew McIntyre, and I'm like, oh right, there we go, maybe.
Yeah, because this Drew, because I remember when they faced at SummerSlam, it underwhelmed a little a few years ago. I think this is different. Like, I think Drew is a very different guy right now.
Yeah, as
a heel, and I think that would work really well. I like him and Punk because they wrestle a real old fashioned match that I can get into. So those are two good shouts and two obvious shouts, I think, post feud.
And I said that I don't know necessarily fully where Punk and McIntyre can go in terms of story. It feels like it needs something other than in the WWE
number one contenders match, maybe.
Hell in a Cell, number one contenders match.
I like that a lot. Obviously, you can put Sami Zayn in the picture eventually because he's the guy that beat Gunther for the title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have plenty of options.
Yeah, they should do that sooner rather than later, though.
Yeah. They should do Rey Mysterio, by the way.
Maybe Gunther versus Sami Zayn at Bad Blood as the sort of, because you need to do that sooner rather than later. Because after losing the IC title, Sami Zayn's just kind of floating.
Yeah, I think they got plenty of guys to make it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Until
Jay, maybe perhaps.
Until what I inevitably think is a John Cena title win at WrestleMania. So try to get us there, Which, by the way, absolutely moved by John Cena versus Gunther. I want everyone to know
that. We did get some post-presser stuff that was interesting. We got the reminders that SmackDown is coming to USA. That deal starting Friday, September 13th. So the great Friday the 13th there. That is around the corner.
That's next week.
Yes. So not this Friday, but next Friday. So strap in, folks, for ratings discourse, because those ratings for USA SmackDown will drop. Well, maybe not the first episode, obviously, but they will drop significantly compared to Fox.
Yeah, they're not even going to come close.
Yeah, you got to prep for that. When we say not close, we mean they might be sitting around, maybe not the first couple episodes, probably, but eventually I think there's a good chance they could sit around Dynamite numbers. Maybe not as, in the 700s, but we're talking I think 800-900s, maybe. I think they could get over, but it's and when I say that, it's because Fox to USA, way smaller station.
Yeah, it depends on part of the year too. We're gonna go into the December part where they do low anyways. But when they're hot, or not when they're hot, but when the time of the year is good for them, they'll probably sit about 1.1, 1.2 if I had to guess. Which obviously is a lot less than Fox, I understand, but that's what happens.
But prep for that. We did get the confirmation that Raw will be storming the
Capitol
Netflix office buildings January 6th.
Did I say that out loud?
January 6th, Raw will be storming Netflix, and that will be the debut for WWE Raw on Netflix. So strap in for that. I think that is probably the first Monday of the new year. Yes, it is. So yes, first Monday of the new year. There was also a little bit here that I just wanted to point out. We got another Janelle Grant question from the crowd, which I think was solid. Ask Cody. Triple H couldn't be there apparently because of his daughter's daughter's high school first day of college. Actually, is what it was. First day of college.
NXT. Let's be honest. He just wanted to be back for NXT.
He didn't want to make the travel. I mean, come on. So yeah, Cody was there taking on the big boy questions. There was a question about Janelle Grant, and not really necessarily like anything about the case per se, but more about whether or not, what is his reaction and the locker room's reaction to what Janelle Grant says. Do they believe her? Because it has been extremely quiet on the locker room side. And Cody, I thought, gave a good political answer saying that, he basically learns everything from the internet. And he thinks people are just sort of quiet because they don't know enough info to come to a conclusion on believing Janelle Grant. Mm-hmm. It is a political answer, and it is the non-answer political answer. Better than I think Hunter's answers in the past on this subject. Obviously better than I think.
Cody has notably had better answers than Triple H almost every time.
Mm-hmm. Obviously it's like, if we want to dig into it, it's like I don't think they're being quiet per se because of they don't have enough information. I think it's obviously the WWE is part of the lawsuit and they should not speak about it. And they mightn't get in trouble. I think that is the various thing. Whether or not they believe her, I think belief is one thing. I have read all the stuff from the internet. Is it the same amount as Cody? I have no idea. But I certainly believe Janelle Grant, and the various things of John Laurinaitis flipping things, flipping his testimony from against Vince McMahon to supporting Vince McMahon. I don't know. I think it's fair for him to say this, a good political answer, but it's just the pushback. I remember, WWE is involved with this. It is probably dangerous for these wrestlers to say anything about it in regards to Janelle Grant for fear of losing their jobs, which also I think goes to say something about this company. Obviously, I think it's fair game to say that you don't want to lose your job, and it's too touchy of a subject. It is a legal issue. You want the courts to decide these sort of things. But, I cannot say anything because I might lose my job. It's not a great, I don't know. I don't like that in terms of the world, but that's just my own political rant of the day. But yeah, so that's pretty much Bash in Berlin. That's all the big points from the post-show presser. And yeah, a largely good show, I believe. Let's move right along. Let's talk about, should we talk about Stardom or let's do All Out. Should we do All Out or Stardom? Hold on. Both are interesting. Both are interesting talking points.
We can do All Out first. All Out should be a decently long conversation, right?
Yeah, probably. So we'll do All Out first. So All Out right now is happening this Saturday in the Now Arena in Hoffman Estates. They, I believe, are returning to the Now Arena. Yes, this time they are returning to the Now Arena. They were in United Center last year, and obviously the year prior, I believe. No, they were in the Now Arena 2 years ago. But last year in the United Center, they're returning here for their 5-year anniversary in the Now Arena, where Double or Nothing, but they took place 2019. Is it 6 or 7 years since All In? I don't remember. But they're back here. Labor Day weekend this Saturday, September 7th. We only have, and slight spoilers if you didn't see Collision, but 6 matches announced so far, or at least leading to 6 matches.
Spoilers for Collision.
Yeah, very much assume that we will be getting more matches as the week comes out. But what we got so far.
Can I say something about Collision real quick?
Sure.
I've given up on the show.
You say that, and I heard Collision last night was a good episode. It was a really good episode.
Yeah, but I don't miss anything if I don't see it besides the main event. None of that's going to continue on my pay-per-view, except for the Sheeta thing. So,
yeah, yes. I don't know. I'm not hand waving Collision. I'm you know me. I've hand waved Rampage for a
to
while.
Me, this is just Rampage with some fun tag matches.
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Collision has some episodes where it's really they're, pushing it and they're really just, it doesn't matter. And I think a lot of it has to do just like kind of moving Collision around up and down the schedule. But I do think the match quality is a lot better than Rampage. You tend to get a lot better matches there. I'm not saying,
but I can watch good matches all the time.
That's fair. So you're saying in the context of the professional world of wrestling, not necessarily AEW.
Right, like it's just not a show I need to watch. Like
I get
I watch good wrestling all the time.
Mm-hmm. I'm behind on so much good wrestling.
Right,
I don't hate wrestling.
Like for me, this is just me talking. This is not stand for everyone in the world. Mm-hmm. But the way to get me to watch Collision is if it's going to really matter.
Sure.
Not just good matches. I understand there's good matches. I look at the cards all the time and I say, oh, that looks like a good match. Well, that looks like a good match. Though I'm learning via cage match, FTR versus the Undisputed Kingdom was not a good match.
Yeah.
Brain, why? What happened? Whatever. I don't care.
That's one of those things where it's like, I'll watch it just to see what happened,
Like I'm going to watch the women's match because it was a main event and it mattered. But I should rephrase. I don't need to watch all of Collision.
When you say matter, what do you mean?
Like these stories are going to mean a lot moving forward. The conglomeration, they're on every show, so like that doesn't matter to me. But like I don't have to watch that show to see Bryan Danielson. I don't have to watch that show to see Mercedes Moné. I don't have to watch the show to see Will Ospreay. Some weeks I do, and guess what? Those weeks I watch.
Yeah, Swerve, Swerve pops up against EC.
I think my main problem is most weeks it's like you could take it off. And I get it. Because sometimes it's taped. Yesterday, I get it. There was a WWE pay-per-view. You accept defeat.
Mm-hmm.
But
if I'm not mistaken, yesterday's was the first Collision out of Arlington. Yes, it was.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the first one out of Arlington, right up against Bash in Berlin. Because Bash in Berlin was at 1, went to like about 4.
But it's still like Dave has talked about this WWE pay-per-view days. It's tough for a show,
even when they're not happening at the same time.
I think my ask. This is just my like overall point of this. When the TV deal is made, let's put some more emphasis on this show. I would love to see it move days. I know that's probably not going to happen, but I'd love to see it matter a little more because it's a 2-hour show that you could tell more stories just naturally. And I just think that's what I want to see. I don't need. Listen, I'm not being the WWE guy. I do not need everything to be story. I need
more story. They're not telling me enough stories.
The funny thing is, they tell a lot of stories. It's just like not a lot of them are told on this TV show.
Yeah.
Like this is just like Johnny TV, the premier athletes, Action Andretti.
Hold on, you say Johnny TV, but he was in a match of the Beast Mortos and Hologram.
I know it's tempting. Don't get me wrong. Even if it's just like stories for lesser guys, like the guys that aren't in the main event right now. But I do like that they put the women's match on here because I'm gonna go watch that because it matters. I like that they put the Beast Mortos on there. I'm not going to sit here and lie now. There are positives, and it's almost always the Beast Mortos. I just want some more often, if that makes sense.
If I can help you out a little bit, I think what you're sort of coming down to is there is so much really good to great wrestling out there that is constantly happening on an everyday basis, every weekend basis. We have a billion things that we're not talking about. All Japan, NWA, that we aren't talking about.
Crazy.
But like, so when you say that, like, if I'm going to watch a weekly television show in Collision, it needs something more to stand out compared.
Needs a hook.
Not
hook. A hook.
It needs something else compared to 2 opening nights of Marigold's tournament, the Stardom finals of WWE pay-per-view that has a bunch of title matches. It needs something to compete against that. And I do agree that they do obviously tell stories on Collision.
This is a me problem. obviously.
No, where you're coming from. But the trend of that people, just look at the ratings. I mean, they're good for weekends for the most part and moving all around. But it is this thing of they could probably do some improvements in Collision and tell more stories. I think a lot of it has to do with Saturday being a tough spot, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like we should just not have it on Saturdays.
Yes. Go up against TNA. They go up against 1/4 of the Bradshawverse.
Here's my trade. Here's my trade.
The Bradshawverse yet?
That he goes to all these random shows.
Yeah, AAA, TNA,
GCW too, right?
What was it?
Didn't he go GCW too?
GCW. I think he popped up at MLW.
Damn. Shout out to the big man. Yeah, there's a part of it where needs a hook because again, I'm watching so much wrestling. I would love to make time for Collision, but I've run to the point where it's like, unless I'm told a match is great, or there's a angle or a story or someone, I'm going to skip it. And that's
or like the women's match where it's like a number one contenders thing.
Yeah, see, that matters, and I know that that's going to matter for All Out, so I will watch that.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. My pitch for Collision is, and they'll never do this.
The problem you're describing is the problem that people like us have with that watch everything.
Yeah, again, I understand. Like if you're just an AEW fan, Collision's probably a fun little watch, right? Like nice, fun, brisk 2 hours.
Yep.
But like the original reason I watched Collision was because it was a different brand, right? So it was like, okay, there's things to follow here. Maybe I'm just asking.
If you watch CM Punk, that is where I watch Collision.
Yeah, watch CM Punk, watch the Bang Bang Gang. Like there was a difference.
FTR,
And I'm not even saying you go full brand split, but there was something about having top guys on one show and not the other.
Yeah.
Like John Moxley's new thing, I think would be interesting on Collision.
I fully agree. Fully agree with that. And I think it'd be fine to do that, to do it on Collision. I don't see any reason why not to.
I think it would be fun. And then when you want to do the world title thing with him, presumably eventually, whenever that is, because he's John Moxley, I know how this works. You could bring him over to Dynamite, but each week you could show on Dynamite, here's what John Moxley did on Collision to make people be like, oh, that's where he is. Okay,
I agree.
Only 2 hours on Wednesday night is not a lot.
I agree. Well, let's talk about All Out again happening this Saturday. Is Collision happening? I don't know.
That's a great question.
Speaking of Collision, it
might be a good point about all this.
Is Collision even happening? Let's see.
I'm guessing no, unless it's on a Friday.
Friday, September 6th. It's a Friday show. That's what's happening.
Is it
live? Happening on Friday. It is happening.
It says live on TNT.
Oh, at 8? What time?
I have no idea.
It's tough because the event ticket says 6:30 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah, they might.
What is that?
TNT
7:30, I guess. 7:30 Eastern.
Schedule. Let me take a look for you while you go into this.
I think that is 7:30 Eastern. It's 6:30 Central. So
I'm checking the TNT schedule. I've gone all in. No pun intended.
Well, we need to go
for this.
Okay.
Hold. It starts at 8 p.m. It's airing at the same time as Friday Night SmackDown.
As their last episode on Fox.
They have 4 hours of AEW television that night.
What time's the pay-per-view? Oh, it's a Saturday. Yeah. Never mind.
So Collision is for 2, then Rampage, then Countdown to All Out.
I forgot that Rampage is also out Fridays.
It's a lot of AEW. And my one other thing.
I thought TNT didn't like AEW. I thought Warner didn't like it.
I know.
4 hours of television time?
My one other thing is Tony Khan has a tell when Collision's not going to matter. If there's nothing announced on Dynamite, it's not a show you need to watch.
That might be fair.
Because I looked the other day after Dynamite. I was like, oh, what I missed? I was like, oh, he didn't announce anything. All right.
That's also something I don't understand why they'll do. Announce things. Just like it doesn't hurt. Just announce.
Yeah, that's not a Collision thing.
It's a thing where Tony Khan thinks that like you can do all this stuff on social media, on Twitter, and that will translate to the audience. And I disagree with that sentiment.
You and me have had that conversation just overall,
Mm-hmm.
not just the Tony Khan AEW thing.
Mm-hmm. The Twitter doesn't work really, especially nowadays. Anyways, All Out. Let's talk about this. Will Ospreay versus Pac, AEW International Championship. Obviously, Pac previously won the title. Will Ospreay won the title from MJF at All In, and now these two guys are wrestling at All Out. There is
this card, by the way.
The floor of this match is 4 stars. Go ahead.
1, yes. 2, this card's better than the All In card. For my taste, it's better than the All In card.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can agree.
Like just top to bottom. Obviously, the world title match was not better. I'm not having this debate. Does make sense though, so cry me a river.
TBS title better.
Pun in. Yes.
Hold on.
Yeah, no. Britt Baker is a horrible professional wrestler now.
I don't think Rashida is good anymore.
I think she can have a suitable match. I don't think she's actively bad compared to Britt Baker.
I don't know.
I think I will be right. I confidently think I will be right on Saturday that match at the very least is better than the train wreck that was at All In.
Well, we'll talk about it in a moment. We'll Ospreay
All In. Ospreay Pac. I mean, what do you need to know about this match?
It's going to fucking rule, my
Will Ospreay sold the Poison Rana like death on Dynamite, and I was like, all right, I'm in. I don't need anything else. You sold the match for me. Pac, this is the second time ever they're wrestling. Pac's incredible. Like, I think Pac's the perfect opponent for Ospreay because they can do the big spots, but he's very good at slowing the match down at the right points.
Yes.
And I think that if there's a problem with Ospreay, it's that sometimes. It's gonna be a great match. It's going to be a great match. Has match of the show possibilities. I'm not going to say it's the definitive match of the show, though, because I save that for 2 guys because they do it every single time. But it's going to be great. And it's not MJF. So I automatically like it 10 times better. Though I might actually like the MJF match on the show. Yeah.
For reference, the last time they wrestled, the only time they've ever wrestled, Rev Pro High Stakes, February 15th, 2019. All In. AEW is not even close to starting right now. Main event, Pac versus Will Ospreay, a 30-minute time limit draw on Cage Match 8.25 for Dave, 4 3/4.
I'm shocked. Dave gave 4 3/4 to Will Ospreay?
But this is 2019, Dave, not 2024.
So that's so what you're saying is it's 5.5 now. No, I got you.
Yeah. And also, that's 5 years. I mean, 2019 was the year where Will Ospreay started to jump out the page as oh, this guy's the wrestler of the year. Obviously, a great wrestler at that point in time. But this is obviously 5 years later, and I think he's only improved. And Pac is obviously still great. So
Pac's this funny wrestler where he just he's always great. He just doesn't do a lot. So it's
upper mid Carter,
Yeah, that's his role here. And this would be awesome.
I think that has, if I can be so bold, Ospreay to Takeshita potential. It's gonna be slightly different of a match, but
Takeshita should have a match on this pay-per-view, by the way.
I agree. Against the Beast Morphers.
Oh, by the way, I just gotta make this. Yes. I do gotta make this one joke. I thought it was awesome that they air this great G1 package of all the Takeshi's done. It's see him on Rampage. I was
okay.
I was and don't get me wrong, the match looked great, but I was this close. You were this close to doing everything right.
Yeah. All right. Next up is a Chicago street fight, Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander. I was full on board of a Russian chain match, but we're not getting that. And I guess that's fair. It makes sense, part of the storyline, but it also makes sense that Willow Nightingale has been in every single street fight in the company, and having this match happen also makes sense. Chains can still be involved in the street fight. What do you think about this?
I think this is their best chance for the match to succeed. Because I don't think Chris and Willow have like the best chemistry, despite being two of the best women's wrestlers in the company.
I agree. I think they have FTR Young Bucks.
Yeah, they do. So I think this is the best.
It should be great. It's never bad, but it's just solidly good.
Exactly. So I think this is like the best case scenario for them. They're gonna go, pun intended, all out, and they're gonna get bloody. It's gonna get nasty. And Willow's really good at this style match. So
is Chris, to be fair.
Yes, she is. So I think this will actually be the best match they've had.
Agreed. Fully agree. And I think it doesn't list here on Wikipedia, but it doesn't list here, but I think this is for the CMLL title, right?
CMLL didn't sanction it.
Interesting. So is Chris not the gimmick contender still? Or do they still have a match after this?
So hear me out here. CMLL probably doesn't care that much about the title. So
fair. Great. These are all great points.
If they were defending it, this would have probably mattered more than CML wanted it to. Mm-hmm. No. So I'm okay with it, especially they could be setting one of them up for one of the champions. If Willow's winning, I could see her face Mariah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're not running her and Monet again. So
no, I don't think they will do that. And if Chris wins, then her Monet won't work either.
Unless they just keep having Mercedes bounce back and forth, which would not be shocking actually at all.
Mariah may make sense. Willow and Mariah, I think that fully makes sense to me.
Makes sense for Wrestle Dream, correct?
Yep.
Is that the show? Yeah, I think that works.
Next up, arguably the actual main event of the show. Or where is it going to take place?
It should main event the show.
Who the heck knows? Steel cage match. Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland.
Has the ability to be the match of the year. It's the best story the company's told.
For a year?
For the past year. It's one of the best stories the company has told overall. And this is supposed to be the blow off, right? You held off. And listen, if it was a steel cage in WWE, I would not be excited. But a steel cage match in AEW, they know where to go with it. And these two know where to go with it. If this doesn't main event, it's a crime. When I saw Jack Perry picked, I said, okay, that means they can main event.
I would do it. Why not?
I feel like you just have the mindset that this is like the lights out whatever match, right? Where they would end the show. Just act like it's that without actually doing that, you know?
Yeah, and I get not doing that because, obviously the build for this is people constantly getting involved in the Swerve matches.
Right, and the record matters too.
And the record matters. So you need something. It has to be a steel cage. Everything's been building up to this. It has to be steel cage.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic. I don't know what else I could say about these two. I obviously wanted this at one point to be the only main event. Now, was I right? Was it okay that it wasn't in the end? Yes. So I'm happy it's here, and it still deserves main event. Swerve is, while Bryan Danielson is the world champion, Swerve still in my brain is the world champion of this company. He said it as much in the promo to set this up, right? He's always a world champion. Do it. And if Hangman finally wins, which I'm sure he will, he kills Bryan Danielson.
I was going to say, what's the result here?
Well, Hangman's got to win. He hasn't won yet.
Yeah, it feels like he's got to win because if Hangman loses, you can continue the story sort of him still gunning for Swerve, just continuing. Right. But this feels like the blow off, and that wouldn't work. Yes. Instead, it would turn Hangman probably into a depressed monster, where he's just going to kill everybody, which I'm not against.
So I can see him lose if that's the goal. If they want to give Danielson a few months,
sure.
But if Danielson
they still could if they wanted to do that.
If Danielson's neck is as bad as he says, what is better than Hangman winning this match and going to Wrestle Dream in Danielson's hometown, destroying him.
Yeah.
For me, nothing.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think that'd be perfect, but we'll see.
I tend to agree.
Guessing hangman booking is not usually my forte, as you can guess. I often fail at being right when it comes to that. So
yeah, I am very intrigued to see what happens. I definitely do think it'll be Adam Page. I think he should win. I think it'll be bad, not necessarily bad for him if he loses, but I think he needs the win a little bit. Swerve doesn't necessarily need the win here. He just lost the title. This is the perfect opportunity for Swerve to lose. So yeah, I agree that Adam Page should get the win here. Next up, special singles match: MJF versus Danny Garcia.
Feels like it needs a stip.
Yeah, it
We
does.
already have too many stips. I'm sure. Like, 2's a lot, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be blood in both of those. But it kind of feels like we need one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I'm not fully against this match, like just ending in disqualification, and then
I wouldn't hate it.
and then Wrestle Dream being a stip.
Then you got the stip.
Uh-huh. It's
I wouldn't mind
cheap,
that.
Kind of cheap, you want a proper finish, but
Yeah, I could see MJF just cheat and win, and then that's how you set up a second one too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe he pulls out like a brass knucks or a bracelet.
Sure.
It feels like, Danny Garcia's promo on Wednesday, I like calling him Danny. On promo on Wednesday felt very Adam Page current character coded to a certain extent of like, I fetishize killing you or beating you up or whatever he said. That feels very Adam Page coded right now, which I think is good for Daniel Garcia. But to that extent, it almost feels like MJF should lose in a cheat fashion, whether it be DQ, whether it be somehow finding that ring again, wherever that might be, so that you can go into another match between the two, assuming contracts are still on the table.
I think a no contest finish would work to sell the idea that these two actually hate each other and want to destroy each other. I think that's a possibility. It sets up the stip. I'm under the belief that this is the long-term feud to set Daniel Garcia up as a main eventer.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that feels like the direction. So
fully agree.
This needs to deliver. And I think for the first time in a long time, not having a straight up finish is a good thing for AEW right here.
Yeah.
They can have a good match. They can do whatever they want. But long term, I think it's about the second match. Right.
I agree. Assuming all the contract stuff is good. We obviously we have some contract news about like WWE believing fully that Danny Garcia is re-signing with the company. Obviously, there's some reports of whether or not when his contract fully ends. But there was also the same reports out there that Swerve signed his new contract or extension or whatever prematurely than his actual date ends. So, there could be something to AEW just scooping people up, which obviously is something people can do. WWE's been doing it, obviously. So it looks like maybe Garcia is here to stay. Maybe, honestly, maybe you want to give Garcia that win here. So to make people feel like Garcia is here to stay.
Yeah.
Because if he loses, then it feels like, then he might be on his way out.
Yeah, he can't lose straight up.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what.
Unless he's leaving, obviously.
Right. This is one of those feuds I'm not going for the 3-match 1-1 type thing. Like, I think it ends with that second match no matter what, assuming he's re-signing. But like, MJF doesn't lose anything by losing this feud. So
I agree. Next up, AWTBS title match. Hikaru Shida will be challenging Mercedes Moné for that title. I'm not jazzed about this match.
So what I'll say about Mercedes, I appreciate how much she's working.
Mm-hmm.
She seemed like she wants to be on every show and every match, and she wants to kind of check off all the top dogs in the women's division.
Yep.
Right. No matter how you feel about current Shida, obviously she's been for 5 years one of the top contenders, and I'm pretty sure we would have had Riho in this spot eventually too, because remember was it Mercedes' first night that they had the face-to-face? I think in the backstage. Yeah, I remember them being so like Riho was gonna be part of it. I think this is just me, but it was gonna be Britt, Sheeta, Riho, like, go through the originals and ultimately leads to whatever big match.
It's not just the originals, it's all the champions.
Yeah, exactly. Very true. So like I think that's kind of what she's going for. So I have no problem with this. Didn't we do this? Oh no, was it Sheeta and Britt that happened?
Sheeta and Britt is the one that happened.
Okay. All right. So it works.
Counter in the chat asked the same exact question. I'll double check.
I feel like this happened. That's
why it did happen. August 14th in Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah, this is weird.
It was on Cage Match 7.27.
It's a little weird.
That we're just a little weird. This was a show. All right, so Swerve versus Yuta in the main event.
So I'm not crazy. That's good. Good. I'm not crazy. It's a big news. I mean, it's fine. It's a quick title match. Again, I think it's adding to the Mercedes story, beating the former world champions, beating the originals, which works. Though she already did. So now I'm confused. But we'll just act like it did happen.
Another reason I'm not fully into this match is like it's already happened.
That's why I was confused. I was like, when I saw the graphic on Instagram or something, I was like, didn't they already do that? I was like, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, whatever. I don't care.
And then your main event, AEW World Title match, at least your World Title match. Bryan Danielson defending the title against Jack Perry with the special caveat of if Bryan Danielson loses here, he's retiring.
No, he's not retiring. He's just no longer a full-time wrestler.
As a full-time wrestler, yeah. So, yeah, that's a nice added stipulation for all these feature matches. I think it allows Danielson to wrestle guys like Jack Perry, who I think is a top guy or getting there to a top guy. I mean, he's a mid-card guy, but he's getting to a big star push, in this company. And of the elite, I think one of the most over guys of the elite, and at least in terms of my opinion.
He's battling a tag team wrestler and a comedy wrestler. I don't know what I don't know what you want him to do.
But the idea of that he can have matches against not like a Moxley or a Swerve or a Page in these sort of spots. He can have matches against the mid card because it elevates them against Bryan Danielson, and the match automatically gets elevated as well with the added stipulation of if I lose, I'm retiring as a full time.
Like I said earlier, it's simple. He pinned Danielson at Double or Nothing. He pinned Darby Allin, the number one contender for Grand Slam, at All In. Easy. It's easy. There doesn't need to be a debate about this. That's all that happened for one day straight. And I was like, who cares? It's a title match on 2 weeks' notice. It's not like it's Danielson's big program for Wrestle Dream or something. I was like, I don't care. You're lucky you're getting one at all. That was my takeaway. I was like, I didn't think Danielson was defending at all on this show. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I don't care. It should be a good match. Like, hell, it could be the best Jack Perry match ever.
We also have to remember this is in Chicago.
Yeah, it sure is. It makes sense. Everything makes sense from a booking standpoint. People just don't like Jack Perry. And that's when I say, and I quote, cry me a river.
I'm into it. I'm into this match.
It shouldn't main event.
Yeah,
because there's a bigger match.
I mean, I don't know. There is an argument that it should main event, obviously, because it's a title match, but with the stipulation of if Danielson loses, it's he retires.
Yeah, but he's not.
There is that argument. I agree, he's not. You can get away with it, but also if it's not the main event, doesn't it kind of give away what's happening? It doesn't give away the winner. No, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters though. Like Jack Perry being the guy retiring Bryan Danielson.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
That would be a huge.
He retired 2 legends. What? He retired 2 legends.
Also, like, isn't Moxley and Darby happening on the show, or is like that the assumption at least?
I don't know yet. I don't know what's necessarily happening with that yet. I don't know if that's a tag team or a rivalry.
So I've been off of social media, but tell me if I'm wrong. Has anyone? I've seen some people say this elsewhere. Is the idea that this is a fight club? Is that what we're going for?
I don't know. I think based off the Marina Shafir involvement, I think people think that it could be some sort of, fight club, shoot Inoki.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I know Mr. Moxley has fallen in love with Barnett and Bloodsport-esque things lately, so he's probably going for that.
Lately.
Well, extra in love with it, I should say.
He did an MMA movie.
So I have my pitch. Hear me out. Moxley, Shafir, whoever else, and we could present AEW Underground starring Shane McMahon.
Now we're talking. There's obviously people think that Josh.
Please
Barnett
don't do that. By the way,
come to the company as well.
I just want everyone to know I don't want Shane McMahon here, so please don't do it.
Yeah, but the idea, I think people are teasing around the idea of like Josh Barnett, Shafir, Moxley. It feels like you need two more people there. I don't know who those two people are. Is this our usual bit of going to the roster page?
And
who is it? Wait, who'd you say?
Shane McMahon.
Shane McMahon, of course. This isn't your company anymore. It's Shane McMahon. It'd be a nice little WCW bit, I guess.
It would not be a good bit. That's the problem. I would not be having a good time.
Any MMA guys or gals? Probably not gals. Probably just be Shafir.
We already have Shafir, so probably not. No,
I don't think there's
John Moxley is Maria Shafir's biggest fan, which
he wanted her in BCC.
Yeah, he sure did. She's not very good.
Maybe Josh Woods, maybe.
Oh God,
Google Beast, Josh Woods, Shibata, maybe. I don't know.
Get me out of here.
Pitching ideas.
This is not getting better as you name people.
Lee Moriarty.
All right, whatever. I give up. I tap out.
Miro, is he doing anything? No. Okay.
I'm tapping out to the Fight Club.
Can we put Pentagon and Phoenix in here? I just don't want them necessarily to go to WWE. All right.
All right. That was a good one.
All right. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens at AEW All Out. All right. Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix. They had their finals of that round robin tournament on Saturday as well. In front of 2,108 people. That feels pretty good. I obviously don't know the capacity of the, what is this? The Musashino Forest Sport Plaza.
Never heard of the building in my life.
Never heard it in my life. So I have no idea. Maybe this is a new building. I have no clue. In Chofu, Tokyo, Japan, where the only other company that has run in Chofu, Tokyo, Japan is Secret Base, a Japanese shindy, if I've ever heard of it.
So I will say this, for those who don't know, like the big Oda Ward gymnasium's closed right now, and that's like usually the go-to for a lot of companies.
Yeah.
So that's why like a lot are doing different. I think there's another place also closed, but that's the big one.
Yeah.
In Tokyo, that's not able to be used, so that's why like you see them heading to this place, for example. And just to give an idea, because it hit me the other day, or not the other day, but a few weeks ago, when I forget what company ran Corkin for one of their major shows. And I was like, it's weird. I was like, this is usually in a pretty big building. I was like, oh, that's not open. Just to give an example, last year's final at the Yokohama Budokan had 2507.
That's not bad.
2507, mind you, with the very, very injured lineup heading into that final day. So
yes,
this is usually a big show for them. Like this is expected to be one of, if not the biggest show of the year for them. Big tournament final. So
plus, being 400 down, I think comparatively, you also have to remember not just you're in a different building, but it might be a little bit different there. Typhoon, right? You also have to think of all the Typhoon stuff happening this weekend. that's affecting probably Stardom, Marigold, Noah, certainly.
Everyone, yeah.
Anyone that ran shows here. Luckily, New Japan was in DC, so they avoided the typhoon.
The year before that was also 2,500. So
okay, so the question is, would they have gotten 2,500 if they were in the regular building in Yokohama Budokan? Well, Budokan, is that also closed? Maybe that's the one that's also closed.
No, it's open.
That's open.
Everyone runs that.
So they just chose a different building.
Yeah, they stayed in Tokyo. I think they opened at the Budokan. I think that's why.
Okay. So the question is, would they maybe have gotten the 2,500, maybe more if it wasn't for the typhoon stuff?
Would they get 2,000?
2,100. 400 off, possibly. I think that's typhoon things, maybe.
Typhoon definitely doesn't help.
No, we'll talk about Noah in a moment. I mean, I don't think that's fully typhoon, but boy, oh boy. All right. So, what did you watch of this show? Because I know you.
I didn't watch every match.
I watched the 2 semifinal matches and then the World of Stardom title match in the final.
Yeah, so I watched the 2 semis, Future, World, and Final.
All right. Well, we'll start with the semis. Maika defeats Mayu Iwatani and Saya Kamitani defeats Hanan. I thought both matches were pretty good.
I thought it was very silly to do Saya and Hanan second.
Agreed.
Like I thought that was like my one takeaway from that. I thought the Maika Mayu match was the best of the show, easily. But yeah, I was like,
the show? The main event was still pretty good.
The main event was pretty good, but I have problems. It's gonna be a lot of laughing later. No, I thought it was easily the best of the show for me. But the order again made no sense.
Yeah, it does feel like it should be Saya Kamitani first, and then Hanan, and then
Mayu.
It also has the thing though of Stardom where they've loaded up like bigger matches on the top of the card. But
tournament match.
But then you also have a tag match just randomly here,
right? So like, because of that, I would have just done the tournament. Yeah, I would have done it reverse because Saya could have faced either one, and there was at least a little idea that Mayu can make it through. Hanan wasn't making it through ever to begin with, but like once Maika won, it's like
her big win came from getting into the semis,
right? And she beat Saya in the block stage, so I was like, well, she's not beating her twice. So like, it's just like me complaining about order of a card because I'm just trying to make things make sense. But listen, this show was not about making sense, so who gives a shit?
But yeah, I thought both were pretty good. Nothing I truly remember from either of these matches. But that's totally fine. Future Stardom title match. I did not watch it, but you did. Rina defeats Hina.
It was good. It was good Future Stardom title match. They did really create the drama of Hina winning before Rina again won. So it did its job. It didn't. It wasn't bad. It was fine. It was good for the sisters. They showed Hanan on the screen at one point, which was nice. Obviously, as you know, the older sister of these two. So it was a nice match. They really tried to build this up as a big deal. So I thought Hina was going to win, and then she did it. So that kind of popped me. I think Rina has either tied or broken Hanan's defense record with this win. So
11 defenses.
Cage match has missing a defense for Hanan. So
okay, so then Hanan would be 11. So if it's cage match is missing a defense, successful defenses or just defenses?
Successful defenses.
Then I think she's beaten her by 1.
Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah, but good for Rina. I understand.
Not just that, but also the longest reigning Future Stardom champion.
Yeah, she's had it for a long time. Well, they had to beat the Utami record. So
of course. How do you think Rina has done at longest a historic reign for the Future Stardom Championship?
I think she's done a really good job at kind of making people notice who she is and kind of trying to stand out. I think long term she has a very bright future. She understands the heel role, I think, arguably better than most of her crew
that true.
She's with.
It's good that we have a lot of heels in this company. You're right.
Yeah, the 17-year-old does it better than most of the non-17-year-olds in her own faction. But yeah, I think like some people have walked away saying like she's been the most consistent part of Stardom this year overall, which honestly is not even that crazy of an argument.
A very chaotic company right now, which to be fair, I had this thought of like, we're in a time right now of this year of like so many different bookers changing. We're like back in the day, even like the 90s, this would change frequently. WCW, like practically every month, they're changing bookers or committees or whatever. Like this year alone, or this year, last year, whatever. Vince out, Paul in.
Mm-hmm.
Scott D'Amore out, whoever the fuck was replacing him. No one still really truly knows. Tommy Dreamer. Hat guy out for high school club guy.
His name's Rossi, but yes.
I want to do high school club guy. So I needed to stick up with that. And I think those are just those three. I'm trying to remember if there's anybody else.
Still a lot.
Yeah, 3 is a lot for something that hasn't been aggressively changed in however many years, a decade, maybe
forever.
Yeah,
forever. Like when you change constants, you feel it. However, that being said, some things are so simple that they overcomplicate it.
Agree.
Which we're going to talk about because
World of Stardom title match. Tam Nakano, again, losing streak, 0-3 in the first 3 matches.
0-6 overall.
0-6 overall, but after losing 3 matches, gets this title match from Sakatora. They end up having the match after Tam Nakano goes on a 6-loss streak. And Tam Nakano wins the World of Stardom title match, defeating Tora in 27 minutes and 12 seconds. Scotty, your floor?
I want everyone to know that I hoped this would happen. And here's why I hoped this would happen. Because I love being right, okay? And I love being right about specific things. I said how stupid it was not to just have her win the 5-star. Natural story, easy peasy. She could challenge. If you don't want to wait till Queendom, she could challenge before that. And I learned that we aren't waiting for Queendom on anything. So it would have been fine. But I wanted this to happen, not because I thought it was a bad booking idea. You booked your brand new world champion to lose 6 matches, 0-6 in the tournament. So no matter what, Natsuko Tora is not going to look good out of this. Even if she wins, she's not going to look good, right? And I'm watching this match, and I say to myself, and I'm sitting there kind of giddy because the match itself was like whatever, not that great, not that special. They did good, like, huh?
Also, this is her first title defense, by the way, Tora.
This is my point. Trust me, we're getting there. So, like, the match I thought was, good in parts, bad in others. But the beauty of this match, right, is going into it, the knee has been Tam's downfall. Yet Natsuko Tora didn't give a shit about the knee for the first like half of the match, which was very enjoyable for me. And then there's a visual pin on Natsuko Tora, right? They need to cheat for Tam to not win. So I was like, all right, we've already failed Natsuko Tora here, right? There's no dominant victory. She did not dominate the 0-6 loser. And then they do the House of Torture stuff. And then Tam wins. And I'm just like, I knew it. I knew this was stupid. I knew Taro Okada was not cooking. Been saying it for months. But I was told when hate was formed, just wait it out. Just wait it out, Ryan. This is good. This is great. Natsuko Tora is the dominant heel champion. It's great. She didn't enter the tournament to stay fresh, and she lost first defense to someone that went 0-6. The last singles match she had, she got choked out by the high-speed champion. and now she's world champion. 0-6.
And not obviously spoilers. We're going to talk about it in like 5 minutes. She will then be going up against Micah, who
in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, which again, Connor McGrady point in the chat. Neither New Japan or Stardom tournament champions would like to wrestle at the big shows. That's a topic. That's another topic we'll push down. But 0-6 versus Micah winning every single match.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
Micah has to win.
Okay.
Has to. Must win.
So I have to give my thought process for the past year of booking, or this year of booking. I always said Micah versus Tam at All-Star Grand Queendom made sense, right? You want to get the title on the face of the company, set things easy. It's your big match. It makes sense. They didn't do that. They went with Momo Watanabe in a 3 stages of hell match.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure.
Fine.
Then I'm like, okay,
new guy, fine.
Yeah, fine. You don't want to do the big match yet. So maybe they're just gonna wait till Queendom. Okay, Tam wins the tournament because Mike is the champion. Oh, Mike is gonna lose to Natsuko. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm talking to the person that's telling me these booking decisions. Oh, okay. No, that's what. Oh, okay.
Wait, so Mike is already champion.
Yeah.
Tam should win the 5-star.
Yeah.
So during the entire tour, or the kind of the entire tour,
yeah.
Instead of just booking that match, we're gonna have Natsuko Tora win the title from Micah, and then lose to Tam Nakano, where Micah will then win the tournament, and so then we're gonna do the match anyways, but the title is now on a different person. And by the way, to me, that screams triple threat down the line, baby.
and to just add another wonderful piece to this, it's not even happening at the major show now. Micah versus Tam was their biggest match based on how they were building the two.
Where is it happening?
I have to look up the name of the show. 1 second, please. And that's not me being a jerk. I actually do have to look it up because it's a new name show. I don't know what it's called.
Is it Namba Grand Fight?
Yes, Namba Grand Fight. And not only is it at Namba Grand Fight, that's 2 weeks away. So, for the folks watching at home, here's your update. Okay, I couldn't even talk about these matches. Like I didn't. Once the matches were over, I didn't care. All I could tweet was 0-6 5-star wins world title, tour 0 defense reign. Pop. That's all I could tweet. That's all I did tweet. I didn't say anything else. Now, if you listen to my review, my favorite part about my review, youtube.com/@ScottyWrestling. And that was just of the tournament. My favorite part of the review, Ryan, is if you go and listen to it. I'm assuming because I didn't touch Twitter all day besides those tweets. Right? I was staying spoiler free for a reason. I assumed on that show it was happening at Dream Queendom. So as I'm going to finish up the show, I go to the website and I say, "Oh, there's a match for Namba Grand Fight." And in real time, you see my realization that this match is happening there. I lost my mind. I'm still losing my mind. I think it's hilarious. I think it's like they accomplished nothing for me in this tournament.
Well, what did it accomplish? Legitimately, and I just laid it out. What they accomplish is a title reign for Natsuko Tora,
where she looks like a loser.
Where they elevated her to the main event scene and then immediately knocked her down by losing to Tam Nakano. I don't think knocked her down completely, but what they did was give her an evil-like run where they just elevated her and then we're not going to touch her again. You know, but that's the only thing accomplished. You could have done that by her winning the 5-star.
Yeah, because you were doing the match 2 weeks after the damn tournament. It would have worked, right? Because if you want to do Mike, I don't even get it. I don't even get it. So I'll say this.
And also, the 5-star didn't matter. That's where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
The 5-star didn't matter. We're doing the match that we were going to do that feels not that it didn't matter. It's just the path that we have how we got there. But this is the two guys. This is the two guys are the hot people in the company, the big stars. This is how we're gonna get there. But we're gonna do all the stuff in the middle to jumble it all up. Like the 5-star doesn't. I mean, not many people win. Go on from the 5-star and win the title anyways. That's another thing. But like, the only thing this truly did was made that title defense of of Tam Nakano and I'm losing names all of a sudden, of Tam Nakano and Maiko. All it did was jumble it up, make a whole thing confusing, and then much like the Zack Sabre Jr. Naito thing, not put it on the big stage, making the title match feel less important than the big stage down the line. So what it did was made your big match feel less important and made Natsuko Tora a main event player.
Kinda, except she's a loser that lost to the person that couldn't buy a win in the tournament. But yes,
that she gave the challenge to.
Yes. So I'll say this: when Tam won the belt, I said, okay, there's a solution here. It's not a good one, but there is a solution here. In my brain, the idea is they want Saya Kamitani, who was supposed to win last year, to win and make the same Queendom main event.
Yeah.
Because copying homework is not frowned upon in this company, whatever the fuck it is. I'm angry. So I was like, that's possible. And then Michael won. I was like, what was the point of this? It was like, we just ran in a circle. Like now
Micah is chasing Tam.
Like Tam versus Micah has nothing to do with the story of how we got here. Hate is not involved. So like
all it did was elevate hate to Natsuko Tora having the world title and Saya Kamitani as a heel as runner up for the 5-star.
Yeah.
And elevating both of them as heels.
And to make Tam the hero.
Which
which I always knew was happening. To be fair, I always believed Tam would be the hero.
In a way, like you separate all the context out, right?
You separate every little bit that happened.
Elevating your new heels, new heel faction makes sense.
Absolutely.
That's something that you should do. This is not the way you do it.
They did the evil thing, except Naito didn't go 0-6 in the biggest tournament of the year, and then get a title match, and then challenge, and then win.
Because you know what this also does? Nagoya Golden Fight is October, right? It's like a month after Namba, right?
I don't know. I don't know anymore. I legitimately don't know.
It's Saya Kamitani is going to be the challenger.
Oh, I'm sure she is.
Yeah.
I'm sure she is.
And it's either going to be Micah, who she lost to, or it's going to be Tam, who...
So, the Queendom main event now, I'll say this, has to be Tam versus Mayu for the double title. Otherwise, I'm very confused. Because Mayu beat Tam in the tournament, and Tam naturally winning the IWGP makes sense. And Tam probably being the woman to be like, we're just going to be the IWGP world title now, would also not shock me.
But then why not have Mayu win here?
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand your point. There's a lot of why not have this person win.
Why not simplify things?
I don't know, because to me, well, there could be other reasons to not want to give the biggest tournament to Mayu Iwatani. You might be shaking your head at NXT.
I am shaking my head at NXT.
That's awesome.
I understand what you're saying.
I saw pure disgust, and while you were looking at the screen, I was like, he's definitely shaking his head at NXT.
If much akin to, let's go to another company with a lot of turmoil in the booking and new companies popping up. Why give Josh Alexander of TNA a title reign or make him look better when he's probably 1 foot out the door.
Yeah, it's similar. Yeah, I think the main problem is that everything is very short-sighted. Every booking decision in this company is very short-sighted.
I don't know if it's necessarily short-sighted. I think it's too fast.
Yeah,
all these things make sense in an idea. Making a new main event star, a new big time heel, elevating a new faction, doing all this stuff. It's just you're doing all this stuff so quickly that you don't need to be doing. If this got stretched out to Dream Queendom, this would be, I think, more palatable. But when you're changing this much of the company, which, to be fair, you're the new booker, New Japan now owns your company. All these things are totally up for grabs of changing. But when you're doing all these changes this quickly, it will turn off the fans that have liked this company for a while, like Scotty, like all these other people that listen to our show.
Yeah, I mean, I sit here. I'm still going to watch because it's my thing. I have to.
This is where I come in. This is where I come in.
Like my ultimate thought process is here. It's kind of laughable. Like you don't make someone go undefeated. Or sorry, not undefeated. Michael went undefeated, first person ever. But like I don't think anyone gained from this, and I will stay with that take. Like Michael was the world champion a week before this tournament. I don't think she's like elevated or anything by going undefeated because now she's just challenging 2 weeks later. And if she wins the world title,
we're back to square one.
Right. It's like, what was that whole month for?
And like I said, as Tora gets elevated, she loses in her first challenge that she laid out. So it's like she kind of gets back down as much as she's
Tora's to me, Tora's just back into the role that Natsuko Tora's been for years.
Yes. Yeah.
Sure, she had the world title, but you know what? When you write up a tier list or something of world championships, which we've done before, she goes right in the bottom because nothing was accomplished in her reign.
How many matches did she have, actually?
She just had tag matches in the tournament, like within the tournament shows.
Yeah.
She was champion for just over a month, the shortest reigning World of Stardom champion in history. Flip flop, flip flop, flip flop. That is what they've done with the top 2 titles in the past 5 months.
Now, this is where I come in, Scotty. As someone that isn't required by law like you are, where you have to cover all of Joshi. And I'm going to say this as nicely as I can. When am I, or how do I say this?
I don't know because I don't know what you're saying.
As my personal viewing of Stardom is going away along with like TNA, is going the same bin as like TNA, where it's just like so much happening. They got to figure it out. I'm shoving it to the side. I'm not interested necessarily. We're going to talk about Stardom, obviously. If you want to talk more about Stardom, check out Scotty's individual stuff. We're still going to talk about Stardom. Our audience likes it. But in terms of my interest levels, it is up there with like TNA. It is up there with all these other companies where it's just like where you and I go like, well, I don't know. Things happen. Yeah. Noah, another one. It's things where it's just like, I'm not too interested in what's happening right now.
Right.
And until they got a lot to figure out. They got to figure out how to book. And until then, it's just like whatever.
I mean,
I'm not gonna. What I'm saying is, my spotlight isn't on Stardom.
And I don't know why it would be. To be fair, like they're not giving. I don't think they're giving people reasons for it to be.
If I wasn't doing the show, I wouldn't watch Stardom.
Right. Well, that's because you hate women's wrestling. But I had to make the joke. I'm sorry.
I did set you up in that way.
It was right there. I just had it out of the park, No, but like I don't know why it's a hard company for me to talk anyone into. Because at the end of the grueling tournament that had some good matches and whatnot, the payoff was we're right back where we started potentially. So it's like,
and this is right 2 years ago, we're talking like one of the best companies in the promotions of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, anyone that isn't in that mode, anyone that isn't in that mode is either kind of like the AEW fans that dealt with the bad of the past, especially end of last year, right? Where it's like we're gonna stay in it because
the punk stink.
We watch. Right, like you were a fan of the company, so you're gonna stay with it because you want, like you're a diehard fan of the company, so you're gonna stick with it. But if you're an outside viewer who tunes in for the big shows and like it's hard to be locked in because nothing is nothing's following through. I'm not gonna make anyone watch this current product because there's just too much disconnect. I think, like, as people say, there's multiple people that say this: if Scott isn't enjoying it, you know it's bad. And I have seen multiple people say that multiple times over the past few months. So because I have always done my best to swing it positive, I can't swing this positive. I can't, and I don't plan to. I just sit here and laugh. So if there's one positive out of this entire show in terms of long term, it's that they have their person on top that they've wanted to have on top since they had her beat Julia. It's been that way. We can't act like it hasn't been that way. They have picked every world champion. Like, Rossi hasn't been booking as the world champion for a while. So if that is, the bright side for you and you're a Tam fan, maybe this is when you lock back in. But if I'm someone like you, Ryan, or if I'm someone that's kind of like, I'll just tune in for the big matches type.
Yeah.
At this point, you're probably waiting till Queendom. Right? Most people. It's kind of like the generic, the people that jump in for New Japan. Oh, I'll watch the G1, I'll watch Wrestle Kingdom. I think that's where this is now. For most. But
luckily there's another company doing another round robin tournament.
If you want damn right there is.
Your Joshi round robin tournament fix.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You haven't watched any of that, right?
I have not got the chance to. That is my ring post radio viewing of the night, which I'm very much looking forward to.
And the cage match doesn't seem too kind to it yet. Maybe the evening show getting a little bit more love. I saw apparently cage match said if I'm not mistaken, a really good match of Utami Hayashishida and Nagisa Nozaki. And I saw it and I said, really? Nagisa Nozaki having a really good match?
Funny thing about Nagisa Nozaki is she can be good. She just doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, I mean, we're obviously still going to talk about Stardom on the show, and we're going to talk about Namba. We're going to talk about Nagoya. We're going to talk about...
You'll hear about pay-per-views.
Which something, to be fair, something we've already been doing and stuff. But, like, if it's, like, a show that doesn't have a world title match on it, like, legit, like if Nagoya, for whatever reason, doesn't have a world title match on it, right, Scotty?
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about it? Especially if it's like a busy week? Probably not. It is like TNA or any of these other companies where like it might pop up every once in a while if we have something to talk about.
Yeah. I'll just say this. Unless you're a Tam fan, this is probably the most universally angry I've seen.
I mean, even if you're a Tam fan, you just saw Tam lose 6 in a row.
Yeah, but Tam fans they're just happy she's champion. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, there's some that are like, oh, she's champion. Let's move on. Let's get to our last segment here.
Well, before we get to the last segment, I just wanted to point out New Japan's doing their Road to Destruction tour. There's littering them with title matches here. On 9/7, they're going to do the Shingo Takagi's 20th anniversary show with the anniversary match. It's going to be LIJ versus LIJ. I believe it's Yota Tsuji. It is I think it's Hiromu. I don't have it actually pulled up who is on Shingo's team, but I believe it's Shingo Tsuji. Yamato?
Yeah, from Dragon Gate.
Really? It's Yamato. I didn't see that before.
I think it's Shingo, Bushi.
It is.
Yamato.
It is. Yamato is not in this unless he is the X. There is.
Wait, what are you talking about? Are we talking about his anniversary show?
Yes, anniversary show.
Yeah,
yes.
it's Yamato.
It's Hiromu, Yota Tsuji, and Tetsuya Naito versus Bushi, Shingo Takagi, and X, and you're saying it's Yamato.
X is Yamato, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The reigning Dragon Gate champion.
So we'll see how that goes. Nice little bit there. On 9-8, you have Cobb versus Tsuji in a TV title match. On 9-9, you have Hanare versus Hiromu in a never title match.
Hiromu should win.
That's an interesting one. 9-11, Doki versus Ishimori in an IWGP Junior heavyweight title match. 9-14, you have Tanahashi, Yano, and Bolton defending the never tag titles versus Dick Togo, Evil, and Yujiro. So a nice little tour here. They're littering it. This is sort of the things that Tanahashi has talked about as being president of doing more sort of title matches, and so they're littering the tour with a bunch of little title matches. So nice little bit of business here. Speaking of bit of business that we have to talk about left, Noah's N1 victory. They had their finals this morning, actually, in Edion Arena in Osaka. Abysmal attendance, Scotty. Do you want to know about this attendance? 1,537 in Edion Arena, Osaka. Want to know where they were last year? Same building. Last year, 21-21. You want to know where they were in 2022? Same building. 2,988.
That was COVID restriction, wasn't
it? It was like endings of COVID restriction, that sort of
thing. Okay.
Kind of getting out of it. Year over year, if you look at the entire tour in 2023, they sold 8,461 tickets, right?
Yeah.
This year, their total 8,552, a 91 ticket difference.
So got to include the typhoon aspect.
Yes, 1,500 is really bad, but typhoon. But that's a 600 ticket drop. Stardom had what, 400? We said.
Yeah.
So
I don't know where and how worse the typhoon was in specific places.
I don't know about the severity. I know the typhoon, if I'm not mistaken, was more southern Japan, and Osaka is sort of in between southern Japan and Tokyo in terms of like the middle Japan. So it's certainly closer than like Tokyo per se. Mm-hmm. That might make sense why Stardom had less of a drop off than here in Osaka.
Yeah.
But still, that's not a big drop off is not great for an otherwise fairly decent tour. Korakuen Halls are really good. There was that first night in the Budokan, which is really bad attendance wise. But it's not great if you're looking at, if you want to blame the typhoon, that's also fair. You could also, maybe you want to point fingers at Kiyomiya. He was the main event of the Yokohama Budokan that did a really bad number. He was the best number on the Korakuen Halls, but every other Korakuen Hall was off by like 10 tickets or so. So it's not like a huge, massive draw. And then he was the main events in the two worst performing shows when they're in the Sendai Pit and was it Kolta, whatever it was. I think it was the other one, Kanagawa or whatever. I think that's what the other building was. So maybe you want to point fingers at Kaito Kiyomiya as not being a big draw, but obviously the typhoon is playing a big part of this. But really bad numbers. 91 ticket difference year over year is really bad. It could have been really a lot better without the typhoon. But also you have to remember, Scotty, 91 ticket difference, all of August. Anyone that was young students up to
Julia just showed up, by the way.
I know, No Mercy has just had the lights go out on Roxy, so they're about to do a thing.
Yeah,
91 ticket difference. The attendance for August, if you were a young student that was in middle school or a junior in junior high, I think it was elementary and middle school, you got in for free. So a 91 ticket difference across 9 nights, in my opinion, is not great when you have a bunch of people that potentially walked in for free.
No.
And Julia just showed up at NXT No Mercy.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Well, it could have been Stephanie Valquer.
Oh, well, mine's ahead of yours. That's why I said it.
Oh, I apologize. Oh, yeah, I think mine buffered during the.
She does not have the same theme song. If anyone cares.
Did anyone actually think she was going to come out to the same theme
I
song?
don't know. Enough people said it, but she showed up. Is everyone happy?
Julia's finally NXT. How's the crowd pop? Do you hear any of it?
They had a nice little pop when like she actually showed up, like when she walked out, and then they just went off air. So
that's fair. It could have been anybody.
She's there finally. So not that was a shock.
not a big shock. I mean, to be fair, it could have been Stephanie Vauquer, like I said.
She just left this week though, so that tells you how much they were like, all right, let's just get you on TV. Like she just left Japan.
I mean, she's coming out with that charisma and that star quality. She looks like a star.
As I said, she will be fine.
So good on her. Good on Julia.
Unlike Noah.
Noah, like I said, 91 ticket difference when you had a bunch of people potentially coming in here for free. I don't think that's great. Again, the typhoon, I think, is the big part of it. 1%, 1.1% increase year over year, attendance wise. Not that great.
Not great.
Anyways, obviously, like I said, again, could be better. Yeah, so I watched the whole show. Did you just watch the main event?
I didn't get to watch any of it.
Okay. The whole show was not that good. I don't think there was anything in here that was like aggressively bad. It was just a lot of goods and borings. Nothing on par with the rest of Japan in terms of what's happening. A lot of the borings and like things that I didn't really quite enjoy. Obviously, I didn't enjoy the junior heavyweight tag title match. I didn't really enjoy the tag team title match, the heavyweight one. That was fine, but nothing, blow away either there. Daga Amakusa was, again, good, but nothing great. The Lucha Tag was, the second best match on the show, but again, nothing great there per se. Josh Briggs, Yusuke Nomura. I mean, what is there to say about that? Those are two guys that I think put in the worst performances, in my opinion, in the N1. I think Josh Briggs is probably the worst. Inamura, I don't enjoy anymore.
That Inamura is going back on excursion again.
There is an idea that he is going out to an excursion again because of a post-match promo where he said, he wants to go out and challenge more stuff. Now, I don't read that as an excursion like everybody else did. I don't think he said the term excursion. He might have, and I missed it. Noah is doing a UK tour as their next bit.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
And he is, I believe, I want to say it's maybe him versus Luke Jacobs for the Progress title. So he is literally about to do a UK tour. So, and wrestle UK wrestlers. So to me, that's what I read that as. It could be an excursion. I don't really know. I didn't really see it as such. Women's tag, fine. Taevan Heights, Soya versus Fujita and Yoshitatsu. Like everything in here was like fine. I really liked Masaki Amiya and Junta Miyawaka. 7 minutes of like really going at it, a really high energy that I did enjoy.
Oh my god, this show has a 4 on Cage.
Yeah, someone gave it a 0. I don't agree with a 0. I don't think the show was the worst show ever. I think that's insane. But it definitely wasn't
worst show of the weekend.
I think that's probably fair. Main event though, N1 victory final match. The final was Kaito Kiyomiya versus Kano. Kano pretty much won all of his matches except for one. And Kaito just got in under the wire basically after having 2 time limit draws. This match elevated not just to be an N1 victory final, but a leader of All Rebellion and a GHC heavyweight title match. This match was easily the best match on the show. I thought it was really good, not great. They had inklings of it getting great. It just never really got there. Plus, the ending, a lot of people were really poo-pooing the ending, which I don't think is completely fair because the ending was the finish of this match. Scotty, do you care?
Nope.
An arm drag finish where I believe Kaito Kiyomiya, after doing a Shining Wizard and they do a little more stuff, we get to an arm drag, which Kaito Kiyomiya hits an arm drag, goes for a quick cover, and pins Kano 1, 2, 3. And that's the finish. A lot of people says that they were just getting going and that was, not that great. But I think what it ultimately was is a Yoshinori Ogawa tribute spot for the finish. And I think that's fully what it was. But the match itself I thought was really good. I don't think it was the best in I'm going to say this word again, in the oeuvre of Kano and Kaito Kiyomiya matches. I think I went 3 3/4. You know, if you want to check that out. I think it's maybe worth checking out. 25 minutes is not too bad for 3 3/4. And see a nice little spot and see how it plays out, see if the finish plays for you. Where do we go from here? I guess Kano is in the second spot of All Rebellion, like we all kind of thought he was. Kaito Kiyomiya still N1, N1 winner and champion, first time ever in Global League and N1 history. So a nice little spot here. But after all the attendance stuff, I would be a little worried about continuing. Does this help with any of that? I don't really know. So we
I know blaming the world champion is part of it, but I don't think there's a solution. So I don't think I can blame Kaito.
I think he just got hurt with the Muda stuff so much.
I think he's so much better now, though.
No, I agree. I think he's a great wrestler. I think he's in his prime wrestling, but it is not translating really into these audiences.
Yeah, I mean, just Noah's missing a lot. Like for me, when I watch Noah, I feel like he's the only star.
Well, like I cover the attendance obviously and wondering on patreon.com/pod. And I covered the attendance and looked at it stuff. And people that like were in main event or semi-main event spots that tended to have good drawing was like Oiwa, which sucks because he also announced that he is officially leaving Noah coming up soon, which is great for New Japan. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But he's leaving Noah, which will suck for them. Jack Morris had good numbers. Kano put up good numbers this tour. They were, or at least they were in good spots.
Yeah. So here's a take I've been saving. I've been holding it in for a long time.
All right.
And it's been dangerous to say, but I'm going to say it now. I don't like Kano.
Oh, okay. All right.
I feel like he flops a lot this year. Like, remember when he lost the world title?
Flop?
In terms of my interest in his big matches, for the most part, it's been flops. I don't.
Yeah, the Wagner match was not great.
No. And the fact that this wasn't top of the line isn't great.
The Go Shiozaki match at the beginning of the year was good. It was actually great, if I remember correctly. I also had the Manabu Soya match that I really don't remember, but
I don't remember either of them. My point is,
I think I liked that match, but that was also right before Ibushi Marufuji, and that has completely taken over all my thoughts of that show. So I don't remember that match.
That's fair. That's fair. But that's my take. I'm not explaining more. I don't. He is. I
think he's just
soured on me this year.
I think, to be fair, to do the pushback, I think he has been obviously cycled down.
Sure.
After losing the title, and especially with this All Rebellion stuff. And now, like, obviously, Kaito is the leader of All Rebellion, as he obviously should have been. I think it's just like they're cycling Kano down, which is also crazy to me because Kano was like, isn't Kano like 30 something?
He's old,
like, he's not like comparatively to this people in this company. He's not that old. 39.
He's pretty old.
Kaito is 28. He's pretty old, but again, other people in this company are way older than him. But it's just sort of like they're cycling him down. I think that's just ultimately what it is. I think maybe that's why he's been not as great this year.
My overall opinion on Noah has been like a wave.
They are TNA 2022-2023. They are a roller coaster season.
And my opinion has sunk through the N1. Which just sucks because it was pretty high going into it. I think with Noah, it's like, and this is a lot of wrestling now. I'm just gonna admit this. A lot of wrestling, it's like, just check out the very important things moving forward because it's like not grabbing me as much. Like I looked at this card and I was like, some of this looks fun, but some of it's like I don't care.
I think there's just a lot of companies right now that are in a down spout.
Yeah, but you and me said like before each tournament, Noah was the high of Japan Puro-wise, and New Japan was not. And like,
one tournament turns it around.
I was gonna say, like, could the tournaments do more for each, like in the opposite direction than they did.
I mean,
and now New Japan's getting Oiwa back.
I don't think N1 was bad. Like, I don't think it was bad, but it was definitely like, again, it was a lot like this show, the N1 final show. A lot of good, a lot of boring. Not bad, just boring.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what this tour has been for them. And granted, they also had a bunch of people that got injured, to be fair.
That's true. All good people.
I know.
That doesn't help either. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not going to give up on Noah yet, obviously. I think it'd be kind of unfair if I did. But at the same time,
I'm not hand waving Noah yet, but they're TNA, Stardom, where it's just
they're entering my All Japan range, which is, as I've noted on the show, not the best range to enter.
Yeah. I think they're lower than All Japan for me. I've been enjoying All Japan, but we'll see with this. I didn't see the Yuma Aoyagi title match yet with Kento, so we'll see after that how I feel after that match.
Very, very fair point.
Yeah. It's just frustrating, man. Wrestling could be better. Wrestling could be better. It is interesting. You know, you talk about like a rising tide raises all ships, right? That common phrase.
Yeah.
I don't think that phrase applies at all when it comes to wrestling.
No.
Like WWE is as hot as it's been in decades, right? And like there's so many different companies right now that are just like dead, or not necessarily dead, but just like kind of not like Stardom, Noah going in waves, TNA. I mean, obviously AAA is nothing. So it's just like a lot of these sort of things are just not. No one. I don't think anyone's benefiting. Granted, these are different regions and everything. You can't really compare, but it's just like a lot of, I don't know. A lot of people are struggling when WWE is like the hottest it's ever been.
Yep, just the way they like it.
There's only so many fans of wrestling, and when you have a lot of people just new changes, making changes left and right super quickly, it doesn't quite serve the audience, I think.
No.
Anyways, any other thoughts before we go on Ring Post Radio?
I'm good here. I have nothing left. It's another long week of wrestling ahead. Actually, I don't think there's that much this week.
No, we have, obviously we're going to talk about All Out next week on Ring Post Radio, which I believe we're doing normal time next week.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll be doing another normal show. We'll be talking about that, probably some New Japan, if it's anything completely interesting. Stardom Namba Grand Fight. We'll do the big old preview for Namba Grand Fight. And CMLL's 91st anniversary show is happening on the 13th. So we'll see how that goes as well. And also TNA Victory Road. How can we forget? Speaking of TNA. Anyways, I know you didn't watch a lot, Scotty, but do you have any matches of the week or anything plugs for people to watch as you get all this Julia stuff out here?
Yeah. It's funny. The problem with Stardom is they have one of their best, if maybe their best show of the year on Wednesday, and then they had the finals. Because it was in a smaller venue, crowd was loud and into it. Things made sense. I can't stress enough. Things made sense. So I'd probably pick Saya Kamitani and Starlight Kid. Starlight Kid was like, in a way, maybe the brightest spot from this entire tournament in terms of getting elevated in defeat. I really want her to win the tournament. And listen, after the way things have gone, I don't think it was that crazy of a take anymore. For her to.
Do you think has she gotten better in the tournament? I'm still catching up on all the 5-star matches, but
yeah, because she's a babyface again.
Saya?
It just Saya. I think you meant Kid. I was talking about Kid. Oh.
Well, Kid's been great. Kid was great in that heel role and everything. So
yeah, I just think like, she's even better now that she's babyface because it's just very natural for her. Saya, she did get better in terms of building her matches as a heel. There's still like the little parts where she just like does the eye thing and shit like that. Looks like all right, whatever.
She got the trainer heels.
She's kind of learning. Okay, I'm just kind of wrestle like I do, and then be heelish, which is fine and probably works better for her. Baby steps. I'm still giving her time, but at least I saw improvement, right? It's like, okay, this is not a lost cause, at least. She's very popular, so that's nice for her, I guess. I don't know. I'm so defeated about the way they handle everything else. Like, if Saya won, like, some of this wouldn't be as bad. Because, like, Saya versus Tam, the hate part would. I don't even like hate. Yet, you did all this, and then they just lost. Both of them on the same night. And I don't believe in Micah as the ace of the company, but that is the direction they've gone. So,
plugs.
Follow me at Scotty Wrestling. You check out my review of that, just the 3 tournament matches, youtube.com/@Scotty Wrestling. You can actually hear my thoughts on the matches themselves. I think I kind of got lost in the booking on this review, which was just necessary. You can also check out the 5-Star Joe Show later this week. I'll be talking more about the show itself, the direction of Stardom moving forward, and things like that. Also check out the YouTube channel because I will be uploading tomorrow a Mari Gold Day 1 Dreamstar Grand Prix, which I'm very much looking forward to. Heard the crowd stunk, but hey, whatever. I give, again, Typhoon, things like I think they were in Osaka too, actually. So in Osaka, not great. Things like that. Osaka with Joshi's very weird.
They were in Osaka as well.
Yeah, they
363 and 305 was the attendance for those shows.
Yeah, it was arena number 2, so it's not like it's a big venue anyway.
Correct.
So it's fine. But yeah, I'll be doing that. Looking forward to checking those out. Should be easy watches. And yeah, otherwise, see you next week.
My plugs are: follow me on Twitter at Ryan IT, follow Scotty at Scott E Wrestling, follow the whole network at Count Out Pod. Got some great shows other than Ring Post Radio. Got Ichiban Sweetcast, one of my favorite shows on the network. Stardom Road, one of my favorite shows on the network. Your Joe's of Death, one of my favorite shows on the network. Jumping Knee Pod, one of my favorite shows on the network. Just a lot of great shows. All my favorite shows. If you want to go check out all of that. I've been doing on the Patreon series, now that the N1 is over, I've been doing Mascara Madness, where I've been going through and watching sort of semi, maybe not famous, but matches, mask versus mask matches around the globe. We've gone to Dragon Gate. We've gone to AAA, obviously, starting out. We've done super old UWA in Mexico in the 70s or 80s, I think. Super old there. We've gone over to WWE, and we have another match coming up. I might plug in a Viano 5 mask versus mask match. I don't know if I want to do the super famous Blue Panther mask versus mask match or the one where I believe Viano 5 loses his mask to Ultima Guerrero. I don't know which one I want to do, but I'll probably do that as sort of a special bonus sort of thing. So that I can talk about sort of the life and career of Viano 5 as much as my research can allow me to discuss. But the Blue Panther match is definitely very interesting in terms of the finish, because it has sort of did they switch out the last second, and that's how Blue Panther was able to lose element to it. So it's very interesting, a lot of interesting stuff to kind of dive into. But I'll have that out on the Patreon, patreon.com/countofpod later this week, $5 tier. My match of the week, I watched August 24th, 2002. I watched old Ring of Honor Invades Boston, and it was the first Ring of Honor match of Mark Briscoe versus Jay Briscoe. A great match, a legitimately great match. Mark Briscoe is 17 years old, and the reason that this is his first match on not on the 5th Ring of Honor show is because he couldn't wrestle in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia or whatever it was. And so when they went to Boston, he was allowed to wrestle because they didn't have a fighting gimmick, whatever, fighting organization. So first match ever, 17 years old. He's great, and he's doing great stuff. And Jay's making him look like $1 million. So just great stuff for Mark Briscoe versus Jay Briscoe in their probably first match ever, singles match, I have to think, at least in Ring of Honor, but so I don't really know. But yeah, that's it. Until next week, we'll have a lot more to discuss about the world of professional wrestling. So until then, we'll talk to everybody later. Goodbye, everybody.